Good evening, everyone. Thank you for participating in Tarion's 2021 annual public meeting. My name is Gina Argidas. I am the Vice President and Chief Administration Officer of Tarion, and I will be your moderator this evening. Before we begin our meeting, we would like to acknowledge the Indigenous and ancestral lands on which Tarion's corporate office is located. The office sits on the ancestral land of the Haudenosaunee, which appropriately enough translates to people who build a house. The land was shared by the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. Each year, we hold our annual public meeting to provide highlights from the past year at Tarion. Our organization is undergoing a great deal of change, and tonight you'll hear about steps we are taking to modernize and improve our processes to better serve the needs of homeowners and builders, and to conduct our business in a more responsive and transparent manner. We had intended to hold this year's annual public meeting as both an in-person meeting and a webcast. However, due to the ongoing public health restrictions related to COVID-19, we're holding our meeting online and will introduce the in-person format next year. We're pleased that this online meeting makes it possible for people from across the province to participate this evening. To begin, I would like to give you an overview of tonight's agenda. We will begin with remarks from the Chair of Tarion's Board of Directors, Harry Panday. This will be followed by presentations from Edmund Lee, our Chief Financial Officer, Kevin Brody, Vice President Underwriting, and our President and Chief Executive Officer, Peter Balasubramanian. These presentations were pre-recorded to avoid any technical issues. The majority of the time this evening will be devoted to our live question and answer period, which will follow Peter's comments. For this portion of the meeting, Peter will be joined by Harry Panday, Board Chair, Sophie Vlahakis, Vice President, Warranty Services, Kevin Brody, Vice President, Underwriting, and Tim Schumacher, Vice President and General Counsel. So that everyone who is participating in tonight's meeting can benefit, we ask that your questions for the panel be of a general nature, rather than specific to a particular home. You can submit questions using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. When you click on the button, you'll be able to type in your question and then hit enter to submit it. You are welcome to submit your questions at any point during the meeting, and when we get to the Q&A portion of the program, the questions the panel members are answering live will appear on the screen for everyone to see. Please note that your name will appear with your question. We ask that all questions are respectful in their language and keep in mind the objective of information sharing for the benefit of the larger group. I'll go over the instructions again before we launch into the Q&A. I will now start things off by introducing a video of our board chair, Harry Panday.
Thank you, Gina. I thank all of you for joining us this evening. The past year has been a test of our collective resilience and ability to deal with disruption in virtually every aspect of our lives. Tarion was no exception. We started 2020 with significant organizational restructuring to align with our new strategic direction, while our staff were adapting to remote work environment, evolving our policies, processes, and procedures to address changing public health directives, and assisting our stakeholders cope with the challenges to new home construction and repairs. At the outset, Tarion faced an ambitious agenda of change, affecting the organization's mandate, newly shaped governance framework, and operations. I will provide you with a brief overview of those changes, and you will hear more details from members of the management. First and foremost, Tarion's board of directors made a number of changes to its governance framework, its composition, and a thorough alignment of policies and new legislation, ministerial orders, the bylaws, our first administrative agreement with the minister, recommendations in a recent report that came out of the special audit performed by the Office of the Auditor General of Ontario, and many best governance practices expected of designated administrative authorities that are the size and complexity of Tarion's operation. We reduced the overall size of the board from 16 to 12 members, introduced a skill matrix that suits our future governance needs, finalized an election and appointment process that drives diversity and consumer focus while reducing the role of builders and vendors. This year, we overhauled our board that has been providing strategic guidance to Tarion's senior management in the modernization of operations for Tarion's future, while dealing with the challenges presented by the realities of COVID-19. Given Tarion's newly defined role, the board established a stakeholders committee as a standing committee with a focus on public interest and the new consumer protection priorities, review and provide its assessment to the board of key surveys and consultations initiated by Tarion in connection with services and interactions with new home buyers and industry or other stakeholders. Another enhancement articulated in our new administrative agreement led to the board institutionalizing the role and duties of the new home ombuds. The ombuds adheres to the ethical principles as defined by the Forum of Canadian Ombudsmen. These principles include independence, impartiality, fairness, confidentiality, and credibility, and a compliance review and evaluation of its operations is performed by an independent third party. A key priority in 2020 was the separation of Tarion's licensing and warranty administration. We all worked diligently with the Ontario government to support the establishment of a separate regulator for builders and vendors of new homes. It is the new Home Construction Regulatory Authority, that is the regulatory authority responsible for licensing and regulating builders and vendors of new homes. We look forward to the positive impact Tarion and the HCRA will have as two separate and focused organizations, boosting consumer confidence in the new home market in Ontario. In 2020 and into 2021, we continue to act upon the recommendations from the Auditor General, and I'm pleased to report on the strong progress that we have made. This has enhanced our internal control systems and brought a number of benefits to the new homeowners, such as improved warranty coverage, new education tools for homeowners, and more options for dispute resolutions. These achievements reflect our continued journey towards a more transparent, fair, accountable, and new homeowner-focused warranty and protection program. Finally, COVID-19 required Tarion to adapt to continuously changing public health directives. Throughout the pandemic, Tarion's priority has been and continues to be the health and safety of homeowners, builders, and our staff. Tarion continued to evolve its approach to servicing needs as the situation and public health guidance dictated. There was no one-size-fits-all. I am pleased that our annual survey of homeowner and builder feedback is there to confirm that the measures taken by us and our communications were seen as appropriate. As COVID-19 continues to impact our stakeholders, however, we will continue to modify the solutions. In closing, I welcome our new Minister of Government and Consumer Services and our board, the senior management team. Look forward to working with his team and all our stakeholders as we continue to build a new warranty and protection program that earns the confidence of homeowners across Ontario. Thank you for participating in this second virtual annual public meeting. And now I will hand things back to Gina.
Thank you, Harry. Next, to provide an overview of financial highlights and our operational metrics, I would like to introduce Edmund Lee, Vice President and Chief Financial Officer.
Good evening. I'll begin my presentation with an overview of the enrollment figures for the year. The residential development industry exhibited great resiliency despite the pandemic. 2020 levels of 68,559 enrollments exceeded 2019 by 5%. This level of enrollments represented approximately $76 million of cash received by Tarion during the year. Total homes under warranty reached over 393,000 in 2020, reflecting steady growth from 377,000 homes in 2016. Warranty claim forms submitted were consistent with prior years. However, the COVID-19 physical distancing requirements hampered efforts to complete physical inspections relative to prior years. The Warranty Services Department used virtual inspections whenever possible during the provincially mandated lockdowns. Compensation paid to homeowners was $23 million in 2020, the highest in the past 5 years, but not unreasonable given the robust home building activity the province has experienced over the past 8 years. Along with freehold claims, there were unique large condo common element claims that also emerged in 2020. The Guarantee Fund ended the year with $684.8 million invested in short-term bonds and conservative Canadian and global equities. Approximately $290 million of the Guarantee Fund supports Tarion's equity position, which is successfully annually stress test with oversight by our appointed actuary. The equity passes its test against plausible catastrophic claims and extreme loss events. In conclusion, Tarion's results reflect the activity of the Ontario home builder industry during 2020 and the pandemic. Tarion's ending financial equity is well positioned to provide support for future expected homeowner compensation. Thank you.
Thank you, Edmund. The next presentation is by Kevin Brody, Vice President of Underwriting.
Thank you, Gina. This evening, I'd like to provide you with a brief overview of the changes that have occurred that impact how the people and companies that build and sell new homes are licensed and how consumer complaints are handled. I'll also cover the new processes for enrolling homes in the warranty program and the new requirements for builders in providing warranty information to new home buyers. Let me begin with some basics on the requirements for new homes in Ontario. Prior to building or selling a new home, both builders and vendors must be licensed. In order to be licensed, they need to meet specific requirements covering technical knowledge, building experience, business management, and financial planning. Builders and vendors are also required to enroll new homes that they intend to build or sell in the new home warranty program. In the past, Tarion was responsible for registering new home builders and vendors and ensuring that buyers of newly built homes in Ontario received the coverage they were entitled to under the builder's warranty. In order to further enhance consumer protection and transparency for homeowners and home builders, the Government of Ontario passed legislation to separate the regulation of the new home building industry from the new home warranty program. On February 1st, 2021, the Home Construction Regulatory Authority, or the HCRA, was designated as the new regulator of new home builders and vendors under the New Home Construction Licensing Act 2017. Once the HCRA launched, Tarion ceased to provide the function of registering or licensing and regulating builders and vendors of new homes in Ontario, but continues to deliver Ontario's new home warranty and protection program, backstopping the statutory warranty coverage provided by builders and vendors to purchasers of new homes under the Ontario New Home Warranties Plan Act. This slide lists the key responsibilities for each organization. HCRA is now responsible for new home builder and vendor licensing. for enforcing professional standards and competency, consumer complaints regarding builder conduct, which also includes investigating illegal building. The HCRA is also now responsible for hosting the Ontario Building Directory. Tarion continues to administer the statutory warranty program under the Ontario New Home Warranties Plan Act. This includes conducting conciliation inspections and backstopping the warranties of builders who fail to respond to warranty claims. We also handle the underwriting of builders and vendors and conduct pre-possession risk-based inspections. Tarion and the HCRA have separate and distinct roles, but our areas of responsibility do intersect. A builder or vendor must first be licensed by the HCRA before enrolling homes with Tarion. Although the licensing and home enrollment application processes are independent, both are required steps for builders and vendors to be able to sell or build homes in the province. For consumers, the HCRA addresses inquiries, concerns, and complaints about the vendors and the builders. Consumers can submit complaints via HCRA's online complaint process on their website. Tarion will continue to handle complaints or concerns about warranty issues or builders' customer service. The HCRA will post information regarding builders' license status, convictions, and warranty record on the Ontario Building Directory. To learn more about the HCRA, you can visit their website at www.hcraontario.ca. As I mentioned earlier, builders and vendors are legally required to enroll homes that they intend to sell or build in the warranty program. This includes freehold homes, condominiums, and contract homes. Tarion continues to be responsible for the enrollment of homes in the warranty program, and we developed a new process that builders and vendors must follow in order to be able to sell or build those homes. Builders and vendors must now apply for a qualification for enrollment in order to sell homes and an enrollment confirmation for construction to begin. While the process may have changed, what hasn't changed is that Tarion still reviews the details of the project and the financial capabilities of the builder to both construct the home and provide after-sales service. As most of you online with us tonight will know, purchasing a new home involves a lot of decision-making. And the more information you have on the process, the better. This is why Tarion has also put new requirements in place for builders to help ensure that new home buyers are aware of their warranty rights and the importance of the pre-delivery inspection early on in the purchase process. For all agreements of purchase and sale signed on or after February 1st, 2021, builders are required to attach a mandatory warranty information sheet to every purchase agreement, which includes helpful information on the pre-delivery inspection process, warranty coverage before and after possession, and additional resources. There are 6 versions of the warranty information sheet covering freehold homes, condominiums, contract homes, condo conversions, vacant land condominiums, and homes with a parcel of tied land, otherwise known as common element condos. These warranty information sheets are also available on Tarion's website. Another new requirement for builders is to provide Tarion with contact information for their purchasers shortly after the signing of the purchase agreement. Like the warranty information sheets, this requirement is in effect for agreements of purchase and sale signed on or after February 1st, 2021. Tarion uses this contact information to reach out to purchasers with a welcome email or letter to ensure that they understand the warranty that comes with their new home, especially coverage that applies during the pre-possession or pre-occupancy period. This also allows us to let purchasers know that Tarion is here to help. Since February 1st, Tarion has sent out over 27,000 welcome emails to Ontario new home buyers. I will now pass it back to you, Gina.
Thank you, Kevin. Our final presentation of the evening is by Tarion's President and CEO, Peter Balasubramanian.
Thank you, Gina. I'm providing this message virtually as the ongoing public health directives relating to COVID-19 mean that we've once again had to host our annual public meeting virtually. I do look forward to the opportunity to address you all in person at next year's annual public meeting. In the meanwhile, I hope that all of you participating and your families are keeping well and are safe. and I do appreciate you taking the time to join us this evening. In this presentation, I'm going to review COVID-19's impacts on Tarion's operations, a number of our key achievements in 2020, including the implementation of risk-based inspections, new warranty education tools, mediation programs, expanded access for emergency or major warranty issues, and increased warranty coverages. I'll also provide a brief look ahead. COVID-19 had a significant impact on all of us. And throughout 2020 and the first half of 2021, it did require Tarion to be nimble in order to adapt our processes and our procedures to the evolving public health measures in the changing situation. We suspended timelines and in-person, in-home inspections in response to the emergency order that was issued by the province for public health reasons. And this in turn affected almost 60,000 homeowners in one way or another based on where they were in their warranty process and how they were providing us information on their claims and submissions. When we were able to subsequently reinstate timelines and repair periods in August, our customer service team saw a large increase in calls and emails. Calls increased by almost 30% in August, almost 90% in September, and emails increased by 130% in August and 215% in September. And this was all due to how the emergency order and the changes to our processes impacted the flow of work into Tarion and the way that homeowners filed their claims with us. Throughout the lockdowns and the changing public health measures, our staff used a number of tools, including virtual inspections, to assist in finding ways to resolve issues and help homeowners regardless of the situation. With the lifting of the second stay-at-home order, we resumed in-person inspections and are using a combination of in-person and virtual inspections as we work through the conciliations that were previously postponed and had to be shifted due to the emergency orders. We've also added more resources to our operations, including adding resources to our scheduling department and our customer service teams in order to deal with the increased caseload. We understand how frustrating the delays that result from COVID-19 can be on homeowners and builders alike. There are restrictions, supply shortages, all of these things are issues which we are all trying to deal with. And we, from our perspective, are committed to working with you to resolve issues as quickly as we can in the current environment. If you have any questions about how COVID-19 has affected you specifically or your home specifically, I encourage you to contact us directly through our dedicated email at covid19@tarion.com. As our board chair, Harry Pandey, noted in his remarks, we had an ambitious agenda for change in 2020. In addition to supporting the launch of the Home Construction Regulatory Authority and facilitating the transition of Tarion's licensing responsibilities, we also implemented a number of key initiatives to help improve the new home warranty and protection program. One of those initiatives was risk-based inspections. Tarion developed and launched a pilot program to conduct inspections of homes during the construction process on a targeted basis. This doesn't replace the inspections that are done by municipalities. It's really meant to supplement that. The goal of Tarion's program is to identify root causes of deficiencies, which could be deficient building practice, and to encourage and educate builders to improve construction practices and really reduce the risk of future problems. The program itself consists of two types of inspections. The first are proactive site and practices inspections, and these involve one-on-one meetings with builders that are considered to be higher risk, and it involves a review of their entire job site, which may include a review of sample homes. And this type of proactive inspection has been successful in identifying issues with building practices, which we identify when we review what's going on the site. For example, an order of operations issue where a builder may have been installing flashing before adding the cladding to a home. And what that basically means is the cladding is intended to waterproof and the flashing as well. And if you don't do it in the right order, you can really create a situation where the home may be at risk for water penetration. So pinpointing an issue like that during construction really creates an opportunity for us to talk about the issue with the builder, educate the builder, and ensure that changes can be made to the process so that homes can be protected in the future and claims can be avoided in the future. The second type of inspection is a targeted construction inspection. And these kinds of targeted inspections are triggered by risk factors. And that could be a complaint from a homeowner. It could be a finding by one of our inspectors about observing a certain kind of deficiency. It could be based on a review of a builder's claims history. And it's different from a site and practices inspection in that a targeted inspection really looks at a specific item, a specific element of the building, for example, condensation on basement insulation. And then we can look at that and ensure that the cause of the problem is identified and corrected before the home is completed. Another major initiative and focus of ours is ensuring that homeowners have the tools and education they need when they need it. And earlier this evening, you heard about new requirements for builders to provide warranty information to new home buyers. And this is the warranty information sheet that's attached to an agreement of purchase and sale. But in addition to that, Tarion has introduced new education tools that give both buyers and homeowners options in how and when they access important and relevant information. And this will assist them in making informed decisions about their homes and their purchases and their warranty. The first one is new warranty coverage brochures. These provide a summary in plain English of coverage. It provides an overview of our process, a breakdown of the roles and responsibilities of homeowners and builders, and Tarion will really help situate people in the process and how to work through the process. And for new home buyers, realtors, and other stakeholders, the brochures are made available online, downloadable PDF versions, and they can also be ordered as print copies. In 2020, we also replaced the homeowner information package with a learning hub. And this is a versatile, digital-based, interactive consumer education resource. The Learning Hub offers online modules with relevant information on key stages in the homeowner journey. Users can progress through them at their own pace and take advantage of embedded links that will take them to other relevant resources such as videos and important checklists. The modules themselves are compatible with screen readers, and that ensures broad accessibility. Together, these tools will help new home buyers access warranty information that they need and that's relevant to them when they need it in a way that's easy to use and easy to understand. And it will be there for them at every stage in their journey of homeownership. Another major initiative were changes we made to the warranty process to support the way that homeowners can deal with major issues they may face. And while that's a rare occurrence, when it does happen, we want to make sure that there aren't any administrative barriers that will prevent homeowners from getting the help that they need. That's one of our key priorities, making sure that homeowners can access Tarion when they need it, especially when major issues or emergencies arise. And that's why we amended the process around requesting assistance for major issues such as water penetration, health and safety matters like mold contamination or radon infiltration, and major structural matters. And for those kinds of situations, claims can be made, requests for help to Tarion can be made at any time during the relevant warranty period. And they'll be dealt with as emergency procedures. They don't have to proceed according to the standard warranty timelines. And what this means is that we've adopted a flexible approach for high priority matters, and we will ensure that those high priority matters are dealt with promptly and aren't limited by administrative timelines. We also instituted 10-day grace periods to a number of our warranty and request for conciliation timelines in order to help ensure that homeowners are less likely to miss deadlines and are able to take advantage of the warranty protections that are in place. Another important consumer-facing initiative has been the development of an independent mediation program. Dispute resolution and issues management have been a central focus of our organization for some time. Tarion's continued to enhance the avenues by which homeowners can resolve warranty issues. And our most recent initiative gives them the ability to dispute a Tarion decision by way of a third-party independent mediator to help resolve and discuss the issue and help come to a solution. And this service is available to any homeowner and is financially supported by Tarion. After successfully piloting the program, we made it permanent, and it was also one of the measures recently announced by the provincial government. The objective and goal of mediation is to find ways to resolve warranty challenges without having to resort to litigation or formal processes such as the License Appeal Tribunal. It doesn't eliminate those sources, but it supplements them, providing an interest-based, independent, easy to access place that homeowners can go to solve their issues with us. Another key initiative has been focusing on warranty coverage enhancements. We're proud that Ontario has one of the most comprehensive new home warranty and protection programs in Canada, but it's important that we continually look at ways to improve coverage and keep pace with trends in claims matters and with the new home market itself. In 2020, after public consultation on proposed warranty limit increases, Tarion implemented a number of changes that take effect for purchase and sale agreements signed on or after February 1, 2021. One, the maximum coverage for condominium common elements was increased to $100,000 per unit, up to a maximum of $3.5 million. And that applies to standard condominium projects where the first agreement of purchase and sale was signed after February 2021. We also looked at increasing and did increase the maximum coverage for warranted damage caused by environmentally harmful substances or hazardous material, including mold and radon. And that involved an increase to $50,000. And we also eliminated a prior limit on septic system coverage. And that allowed that to be covered up to a cap of $300,000. So now let me talk about where we're going and give you a brief look ahead. We are continuing to look at additional warranty enhancements that may be implemented in the future. Examples of some of the things that we are consulting on and looking at include providing compensation to homeowners in instances where they've had to relocate from their homes while repairs are underway, which arose from the repair of a warranted item. We've also begun looking at extending warranty coverage for items that are missing at the time of a pre-delivery inspection. And we are also considering increasing the overall warranty cap, which is currently $300,000 per home. As I mentioned at the outset, 2020 was an especially challenging year, but I'm proud of the progress that we've made on improvements to policies, processes, and coverages, even in the face of the pandemic. At the same time, on a day-to-day basis, our team also delivered on our primary purpose, which is to help homeowners and really give people peace of mind in their greatest investment. Our annual homeowner surveys have reflected this, and they reflect the positive consumer outcomes we were able to achieve in 2020. For Tarion, it was a critical year in our journey to continue to build a better warranty program for you. And I believe our accomplishments in 2020 and into 2021 have given us a strong foundation on which to continue to build on this progress in the years to come.
So that's a general overview of Tarion's activities in 2020 and into 2021. As Peter noted, our implementation plan for the Auditor General's recommendations can be found on tarion.com. You can also find more information in our 2020 annual report, which is also on our website. If you are interested in learning about the activities of the New Home Ombuds Office, you can visit the Ombuds Office website at newhomeombuds.ca and read their annual report. Now, as promised, we will move on to our question and answer period. To remind you, the panelists are Harry Panday, Chair of the Board of Directors, Peter Balasubramanian, President and CEO, Sophie Vlahakis, Vice President, Warranty Services, Kevin Brody, Vice President, Underwriting, and Tim Schumacher, Vice President and General Counsel. If you have a question, please click on the Q&A icon at the bottom of your monitor and type it in. We intend to answer questions as they come in. When the panel is answering a question, it will appear on the screen. Depending on the volume of questions, we may not have time to get through all of them this evening, but we will do our best. If your question does not get answered tonight, we will follow up to ensure that it gets addressed. For questions that are very specific to a particular home or issue, we'll have our warranty services team contact you. Answers to more general questions will be posted on our website in the annual public meeting section under the About tab. We will post those answers as quickly as possible after tonight's meeting. Please note that if your question pertains to an issue that is now under the mandate of the Home Construction Regulatory Authority, for example, licensing of builders, illegal building, builder conduct, we may refer you to that authority for a response. Finally, I should point out that tonight's meeting is being recorded and will be posted to Tarion's YouTube channel within the next 7 days. With all of that in mind, let me begin with the first question. And the first question is for Sophie. I have moved in last year, but some items on my PDI or 30-day form are not completed due to COVID. Who do I need to speak to regarding this?
So unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we have had to extend builder repair periods. And I'm not sure at what point in the builder repair period you are in, but I would encourage you to contact us and we can look up your file and tell you the timeline that you are in. And we can also contact the builder on your behalf to find out what the issue is with respect to getting your claim resolved and the issues on your forms repaired, and we can try to facilitate and assist you in that way.
The next question is for Peter. My husband and I are looking to buy a house in expensive Toronto. He is very handy at home repairs. Why do we have to spend another $2,000 for Tarion warranty that would be better spent on the mortgage? We are willing to self-insure.
Thanks, Gina. If I'm reading this information correctly, I think we've got almost 80 questions that have come in already. So we're going to do our best to get through it. I will say, just to pick up something before I answer this question, I do look forward to when we can do this in person. I find talking through this virtual environment is really difficult. But with respect to this question, I think there are two pieces I want to highlight. One is the enrollment fee, which comes with the Tarion warranty protection that goes with every house, cannot be self-insured. So it's a price, or it's an enrollment fee that goes with every new home in the province, and that ensures that every new home in the province has all of the protections that come with the Ontario New Home Warranty Program to backstop the builder. And I can understand if someone is handy, that they may think that it might be better for them to just take the risk. But I think it's important to remember a couple of things. First of all, that the warranty protection is up to $300,000, and it really covers major structural defects, which may be beyond the ability of a handy person to manage. So it's really there to give you peace of mind in case of an emergency situation. And one way to look at the price, the enrollment fee issue, which is in the statute, it's a fee that's paid by the vendor, but I think in practice, many vendors pass that on in the statement of adjustments. And one way to look at that price is to really think about the warranty coverage and protection you're getting. So it's the $300,000 coverage plus the services and help we can provide, but it's also spread out. It's a one-time payment that gives you 7 years of coverage. It's about $280 a year. But at the end of the day, it is a fee that is part of the new home buying process in Ontario. And if the avenues to explore, if you don't want to pay that fee, would be to either purchase a resale home and not buy a new home, or if you feel that you have the expertise and can do it, you can build your own home. And that might be another way to explore building your own home. And in those cases, you don't have to pay the enrollment fee. But the vast majority of new homes are covered. And I think from a policy perspective, while any individual home buyer might be in a position where they either are handy or they have sufficient financial backing that they want to self-insure, I think the purpose of the Ontario New Home Warranty Program is to provide peace of mind and coverage to every home buyer in Ontario, even vulnerable ones, even ones that may not have any ability to do repairs, ones that may not have that financial ability. So not only is it, I encourage you to think about the risk And it's not just small items. It could be, I hope it doesn't happen, but there's always that black swan event risk you have to protect yourself for. But I also want to say, from a policy perspective, a self-insurance model really would drive up the costs for those who are the least positioned to handle that cost in terms of protecting all of us.
The next question is for Sophie. In my new house, the electrical panel has more than a dozen CAF-CI breakers or arc fault breakers. These breakers trip all the time whenever we use electric devices. I have tried to contact the builder and the electric company that the builder uses, but there hasn't been much response so far. Can I report this to Tarion and request them to fix it?
You can certainly report that to Tarion. Again, I'm not sure at what point in the warranty process you're in, but you can certainly complete a form and submit it to Tarion, and your builder would then have a builder repair period. But if this is something they're not responding to, I would encourage you once again to contact us, and we can reach out to the builder and try to facilitate them addressing this issue earlier in the builder repair period.
The next question is for Peter. Why do you have a director of warranty services if the Auditor General's report said you had to remove the word warranty from your organization?
That's an interesting question. I think the Auditor General did identify the challenge of confusion in the marketplace, that home buyers may be confused as to whether it's the builder's warranty or Tarion's warranty, and suggested that confusion, which is really about clarity around roles, what's the role of the builder, what's the role of Tarion, that needs to be clarified, and suggested that the word warranty in Tarion's name could be taken away because the existence of that word in the name adds to the confusion. So when we looked at that, we really focused in on trying to make sure that the roles were clear in our outward communications. So we focused on the information that we push out to homeowners, the way we describe ourselves in our annual report and in our materials, and try to make sure that there was a real emphasis on role clarity in our communications, and think that that's gone a long way to address the heart of the recommendation made by the Auditor General. That being said, you raise a good point. I think it's nothing more than we didn't turn our mind specifically to internal titles. And if there's merit in changing the titles to assist in driving forward with role clarity, that's something we would consider. So Sophie's on the call here, and I'm not going to put her on the spot to answer this, but I'll just make it a point that after this meeting, it's something we should talk about, particularly as we are looking forward to our 5-year strategic plan and our development of our business plan. We're always open to listening to these ideas. And if changing internal titles is something that will help make sure our message is clear, then I'm happy to do it.
The next question is for Sophie. Who sets the quality warranty standards for Tarion? What are their qualifications? Are they builders, suppliers, or are they independent people?
I'm not sure what this question is referring to. I'm going to take a leap and suggest it's the construction performance guidelines, which have been set for a while now. At the time, and I'm going to ask Peter to help me with this because I wasn't at Tarion when this was taking place, but I believe it was an independent body of independent advisors, including builders and trades and engineers and other experts, that put the construction performance guidelines together. And we do update them from time to time using the same type of process.
Yeah, Sophie, I think the construction performance guidelines were originally created back around 2003, 2004. And I don't actually remember the full details of the composition of the body that put them together, but subsequently they were looked at and reviewed. And my recollection is that the body includes building scientists. It did include representatives of industry, so new home builders. It included municipal officials and home inspectors, and legal advisors, as well as Tarion staff. And that would be the general response to the question around the development of the CPG. I think we would, maybe we can supplement this Gina, you can make a note when we publish the response on the website, we can clarify or publish more information on this. In terms of the overall quality standards that a builder has to meet, Sophie, though, as you know, it's in addition to the construction performance guidelines, there would also be reference to the building code. And of course, the building code in Ontario is not set by Tarion, it's set by another body reporting into the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. And there's an entirely different set of individuals with qualifications that are involved in providing input into the building code. And in addition, the building code also incorporates certain public manufacturing standards, Canadian standards, which also have their own input mechanism. And then finally, when you're dealing with finishing work or finishing items, which may come up from time to time, which aren't referenced in the building code or a standard, or even in the construction performance guideline, because issues are coming up all the time, which may not have been looked at before. When you're dealing with a new issue, generally we rely on industry standard, and we have to determine what the industry standard is at the time a new issue is raised, which may involve looking at our own historical experience or speaking to builder representatives or reaching out to independent experts for specific opinions on specific files. So there's a lot that's involved in answering this question, but I think we've touched on some of the key points.
Next question is for Sophie. A couple of contractors have come to address a few things on my 30-day form, but they said someone else will come to handle the rest. We can only see the overall status of the 30-day form. It shows a status open, but not on each individual item. How do we know that a specific item in the 30-day form is still listed as outstanding on Tarion's end?
Tarion, unfortunately, we don't keep track on an item by item basis as to whether something is still outstanding or not. That is something that we rely on the homeowner to advise us when they request a conciliation. However, if you would like our assistance to contact the builder and discuss with them the status of the items and what they consider to be outstanding and what they're willing to address, we can certainly intervene and assist in that way. So I would encourage you to call our customer service group and request that we do that, which we can certainly help you determine what's still outstanding on the list. And we can even visit the home with the builder and do that in the presence of both parties.
Yeah, the My Home portal, Sophie, that we have, that is the digital, effectively the digital warranty management system that we have, doesn't allow for this kind of dynamic interaction, which I think is being described in the question. But I think it's a great area to explore. I don't know what will be feasible or whether we can incorporate that kind of functionality into My Home. But that's an idea that I'd love to see us brainstorm and think about, those kinds of areas where we look at how can we make My Home more usable and more accessible to homeowners to help that process along and help them in their journey. So I think that's something to take note of and look at internally to see what are the different ways we can make that system more dynamic.
The next question is for Peter. In your customer satisfaction survey, why do you only survey homeowners in their first year of ownership? Before, you surveyed after 3 and 5 years when the feedback was more negative. Why eliminate this feedback?
Yeah, I don't think we have eliminated the feedback. So we do continue to do a survey of ownership after year 1. So the question talks about surveying 3 to 5, but we actually do years 2 to 7, which includes 3 to 5. But we still do that. We haven't changed that. I believe we still report it in our annual report. I think it's, I don't have my annual report in front of me, but again, in the written responses, we can direct you to the specific page. But I know that information is in our annual report because I remember looking at it this year. The feedback on 2 to 7 does tend to be lower than the feedback that we receive for our 1 and 2 years. And that's something that we try to consider and trying to figure out what that is. To some extent, I think that the lower positive feedback in years 2 to 7 can be correlated with the fact that the warranty itself tends to narrow as the years go out. So your broadest coverage, your broadest statutory coverage is in your first year. And first year, it's the absolute broadest coverage. It covers work and materials, building code, a variety of matters. And then in your second year, the coverage is a little bit more narrow and it's more focused on building envelope, heating and ventilation systems. And then when you get into years 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, it starts to focus in on health and safety, major structural issues, things that really go towards your ability to use the home. And as the coverage narrows, you typically see satisfaction levels reduce. So I'm not excusing that. I think it's absolutely something that we need to look at and need to examine and think about. But certainly to the extent that the person who's asking this question believes that we're not doing it anymore, that's not correct. We are still doing it. And I invite you to take a look at the annual report and have a look at the information contained in there. Thank you.
The next question is for Sophie. I occupied a new condo building in the beginning of May. According to the agreement with the builder would provide the AC. However, the AC has not been provided properly until last week. I cannot live in the unit. I only have picture windows in the unit without the AC when the temperature hits around 30 degrees Celsius. In this case, how can I get compensation from the builder?
I'm wondering what the compensation is for. So with respect to air conditioning, it is considered in the summer when the temperatures hit that high to be an emergency item and a necessity in a home. So if a builder's not addressing it or repairing or providing the air conditioning and they were supposed to, then I would encourage you to contact Tarion and file an emergency claim. And we will reach out to the builder and if necessary, address it or walk you through the process on how to have it addressed.
The next question is for Kevin. I am in the process of researching new builders, but I'm confused by your changes. Is it the company that licenses builders, I forget its name, now responsible for the old builder directory? How does it get accurate warranty information on builders?
Prior to February 1st, 2021, Tarion would have been the organization that would have dealt with the Ontario Building Directory and would have populated that with all the warranty information that we have. As of February 1st, 2021, you are correct. The new organization, which is the Home Construction Regulatory Authority, or HCRA, is the new entity that now hosts the Ontario Building Directory. In my presentation earlier, I did talk about their website, and that's hcraontario.ca. So you can certainly go to their website and click on the Ontario Building Directory there to help research your builder. With regards to how do they get that information, as much as they host the Ontario Building Directory now, that information still comes from Tarion. We do have an information sharing agreement with HCRA where we do send over certain information to them, and that would include possession information, enrollment information, chargeable conciliations, claim payments, that sort of information would still come from Tarion because we're the organization that still does all of that warranty work and has all that information. And then we send it over to HCRA because they now host the Ontario Building Directory.
The next question is for Peter. My understanding is that Tarion will only cover 5% of the purchase price up to a maximum of $300,000 should a building be condemned due to major structural issues. How does this insignificant amount assist to cover a person's mortgage liability? Shouldn't an owner be provided the full amount of the purchase price back from the builder?
I think I would just clarify. The first thing I want to clarify for viewers, or listeners, is that the maximum coverage is $300,000. It's not limited to 5% of the purchase price. So it is $300,000. That's the maximum cap for a unit or a house. I understand where this questioner is coming from when they're suggesting that $300,000 sounds insignificant when compared to the prices that you're seeing in the Toronto housing market. And as I said in my recorded remarks, we are looking at the $300,000 cap. This was an issue that was discussed in the Standing Committee on Public Accounts as well, and is is part of a review that we're undertaking. But I do want to point out a couple of things to the viewers to help understand the context of the warranty coverage. Remember that when you own a house, you are getting the house that is built, and you're also owning the land that the house sits on. And when we look at a lot of the pricing and the costs in Ontario, a lot of the price increase really are driven by changes in the cost of land. And the warranty that you get there is no warranty on the land because you're not rebuilding or you're not doing any changes or repairing anything on the land itself. I think the easiest analogy is to look at your home insurance policy. I think most folks who have a home insurance policy have an amount that they pay for, that they insure their home for. And typically the home insurance is the cost to rebuild your house. And that's typically very different from the purchase price because the purchase price includes that land. If we were to try to cover the land price in the warranty, one of the implications of that would mean that if the warranty coverage, for example, were to be $1.5 million. So first of all, I would say to you that if you got $1.5 million of warranty coverage, you're probably over-insured. You're being over-protected because it only costs, it may only cost $400,000 or $500,000 to rebuild your house from the ground up. So that extra amount of insurance is not relevant to protect you. And then, of course, if you did have that amount, we would have to find a way to fund it. So you would find that the enrollment fees, for example, may go up. So I don't think that the warranty coverage should be the same as the purchase price of a home because of the land component. But I do think, and I am open to examining the $300,000 and making sure that that makes sense. Does it make sense for Ontario today? Does it make sense for Ontario consumers? And reviewing that, is going to involve a lot of different things. It's going to involve looking at what are the coverages in other jurisdictions, what's the cost to rebuild homes, what is the impact on the guarantee fund and enrollment fees, and what are the, ultimately what are the pros and cons and benefits you get from a warranty coverage change. So I'm gonna stop there because I could talk about this for a long time, but I'm really engaged here and happy with the number of questions that are coming in, and I'm concerned if we spend too much time on each question, we're not going to get very deep into this, into the number of questions that are being asked.
Thank you, Peter. The next question is for Tim. During COVID, many home buyers, such as myself, received very unreasonable delays. The 3-month window was no longer in effect. In some cases, we were told in weeks about delays. During this process, Tarion allowed builders to do this without offering buyers compensation. We were delayed for a total of 10 months. During the delay, our closing dates were changed 4 times. The last 3 was a play it by ear scenario. We had to find storage and a place to live at our expense. It cost an additional $10,000. Will Tarion do anything to help homeowners that had to bear the brunt of such costs?
I'm going to start by saying that I'm going to encourage you to contact us so that we can look at the details of the scenario that you've described. But let me say very generally that with the pandemic, that is an unexpected event that is recognized as an unavoidable delay. And to the extent that there are delays that are attributable to the pandemic, that does entitle a builder to make unilateral extensions of critical dates. That said, that all has to be done in accordance with the provisions of the addendum. And if that was not done properly, then there may well be delay compensation of as much as $7,500 available to you. So to recap, as a rule, delay that is caused by the pandemic is something that allows the vendor to extend critical dates like closing dates, but it has to be done in a particular way with notice. And in particular, I'm when I look and see that they changed the dates 4 times, that strikes me as being somewhat odd. So can I please encourage you to speak to us, and we can maybe help sort this one out and give you a better explanation that deals with your particular fact situation.
Yeah, and Tim, I mean, I just want to add, from my perspective, the delayed closing protection that exists in Ontario. First of all, it is one of the only places in Canada you'll find anything like a delayed closing protection. It was put in place somewhere in the 2006, 2008 timeframe. But I'll tell you this: when the organization and the government was looking from a policy perspective at how to really provide protection to Ontario home buyers in the case of a delay, no one really understood or had in their mind the depth of impact that a global pandemic like COVID could have on supply chains in the building industry and people's lives. So we are working through this. I recognize that we as an organization may find ourselves in a tough position where we want to help consumers and can't because there are some delays that are happening, which there's really no protection for, because they, it's a once in 100-year event that we're working through. It may be that down the road we learn from this from a policy perspective, and there may be changes in the future. I don't know, that look at how these protections work, but right now we're trying our best to apply the protections that exist to the situations as they arise. And the truth of the matter is sometimes there's just really difficult situations, and we're trying our best to apply them where we can to help homeowners.
Next question is for Kevin. Could the builder leave exterior work on walls that could lead to moisture issues, such as water penetration or damage on the homes that are already closed, keeping it pending for more than 2 months, but continue to complete the same work on houses that are not closed yet? I made the question more general since I face this problem. I believe many other homeowners do too.
So there's a couple points in that email that I'll address. The first one is with the individual homeowner, that it sounds like they've closed their unit, sounds like there's water penetration. I would certainly strongly recommend to reach out to Tarion, because one of the things that would fall under our emergency process would be water penetration. It's certainly water penetration that would turn into mold. And so reach out to us and we can help address that issue for your specific house, because it's closed, it sounds like, based on the question that you're asking. So that's one important point I wanted to make about this question. The other one is, it sounds like you believe that there may be a bit of a systemic issue within your subdivision, and that's concerning as well. And which is another reason why I think you need to reach out to us, so that we can better understand what the issue is, if this is a systemic issue that the builder is not addressing that could lead to future problems. And this would fall into our risk-based inspection program. We talk about there's 2 different types of risk-based inspections we would do. One of them would be a site visit, and the point of that is to address issues before they become claims. And so in your case, if it resulted in a claim, if we can help address that with the builder early on during construction before the homes are closed, it's going to be better off for the consumer, so that future consumers wouldn't have to go through the same issue that it sounds like you're going through at this time. So to end the question, I would say please reach out to us and give us a little bit more detail, and we can go from there.
Next question is for Sophie. As my house is a middle unit, I can hear people walking in the living room, kids running, and the neighbor opening the backyard door. All my doors are tight, but they hardly close. Kitchen sinks leak. Are any of these covered under warranty?
These sound, and again, I'm just going to give a very high level answer because we haven't been to the home to assess it, but these do sound like they could be first-year warranty issues. So you could report them to Tarion on a warranty form, and we would, the builder would be given a builder repair period, but we could definitely come in and assess them.
The next question, again, is for Sophie. Surface water is an issue as we are still under construction. Some pumps are working 4 times per hour. We live in a freehold townhouse with a vacant land condo agreement. The development is not sold out. We're concerned that the undeveloped land, which is pooling water now, will not be developed for some time. The builder is aware and has been very good with all follow-up. Is there anything we should be doing before we come aboard and take over the management of the development?
That is a good question. We don't cover common elements, and I'm not sure if this is a common element or if this would form part of your unit warranty. But as far as the board goes, I would encourage you to reach out to the Condo Authority of Ontario and get some advice from them as to how what you should look into and how to compose the board and all the rules around board composition and what the rights of a board has prior to turnover or even after turnover from the builder. I would also encourage you to reach out to the municipality to take a look at that undeveloped land to see if there are plans for construction, and maybe the builder will be able to provide you with that information. It sounds like the builder has been responsive. You can reach out to us if you have any questions, and maybe we can answer something specific about the project itself and guide you or direct you in the right directions with a little bit more context.
The next question again is for Sophie. I purchased a new home that I moved into January 2021. It's a semi-detached home and I can hear my neighbor snoring. What can Tarion do to assist me, or what should I do? I noted it on my 1-month warranty submission and was told there's nothing the builder could do.
I'm glad that you did note it on a warranty form. It could be a sound issue between the units. That is something that can be investigated. The builder does have a repair period, which given that you moved in January and you submitted on a 30-day form, you're likely coming due for a request for conciliation. So I would encourage you to contact Tarion and see where you fall in the timelines. If you're eligible, you can request an inspection, in which case then we can look into the issue for you.
The next question is for Peter. What advice has your Consumer Advisory Council given to Tarion on policies in 2020 to 21? Why don't you publish the names of these members on your website and what they've recommended to Tarion on behalf of consumers?
Thanks, Gina. The Consumer Advisory Council, for folks that may not know what that is a committee that reports into the stakeholder committee of the Tarion board. So it's a board advisory committee, and I think it's pretty interesting group. It is an advisory committee that is made up of home inspectors. There have been building officials on it. And it's made up of homeowners themselves, non-expert homeowners who've gone through the warranty experience. Some of them have had challenging warranty experiences, and they've gone through the mediation, and some have gone through the License Appeal Tribunal. On the regular homeowner side, it also includes folks who have experienced the warranty program through the condominium side, or who may be part of condominium management. They may sit on a condo board. So it's really almost a think tank advisory board that gives direct input to the Tarion board of directors and really provides one avenue. It's not the only avenue. We also have consumer surveys. We also have forums like this, by the way, where we are open to receiving direct feedback from the public. But it is definitely one of our paths by which our board gets access to regular people's thoughts and views on what consumer protection is all about and areas that we may explore to improve the service that we're providing to Ontario homeowners. In terms of 2020 to 2021, I think on every major policy issue that we've consulted on, so that would include everything from the process that I've talked about, how we may be looking at the $300,000 cap, to the warranty in my recorded remarks where we talked about looking at extending the warranty on situations where a person has to leave the house during a warranted repair and what kind of compensation there should be, to the kinds of things we talked about already today in the Q&A, like Are there ways to make the My Home system more dynamic and more usable by homeowners? All of those kinds of things go through the Consumer Advisory Committee. Now, we don't publish the advice that they give to the board, because the advice they give to the board is intended to be confidential to the board for the board to use. And publication of that advice, I think, would put too much of a burden on the group in terms of them being just asked to give their free reaction and free thoughts. It's not really an expert panel intended to give advice that should be defended in a public forum. That's really not what it's about. It's about being open and being listening to regular homeowners. And I think that's really the spirit of what this is. In terms of publication of their names, historically, they haven't been published. I think part of it was really recognizing the privacy of the individuals. I mean, I can't underline enough here where really the nature of that committee is to just get people who have lived experience giving advice on the board. And it is a bit tricky if you put your name out there and then you find, as we find from time to time, which is, it's disappointing but true. We do find that there are certain, certain social media pages which will attack Tarion staff or attack people who give advice. And, I think that's a tough thing to ask someone to volunteer for. That being said, I'm always open. And I think we are always open to try and build confidence in the process. And if publication of the names is something that will help move the needle in terms of building confidence, it's absolutely something that we will consider. And I think that it is something that the council is considering. So I think that's something that maybe next year when we have our annual meeting, or earlier than that, we'll have another update on this and we can advise, what changes or what other changes to that committee we've made to really drive forward the purpose that we have, which is to build confidence in the protection program.
The next question is for Sophie. As the builders are allowed to delay their repairs, to be fair, can Tarion consider extending the warranty period?
So I'm just trying to think of the context of this question. During the emergency orders, we did extend the submission timelines for warranty forms. And again, we also extended builder repair periods, and that was in response to the COVID-19 health and safety measures implemented by the province. The warranty period is in the legislation. We, if you're not sure if something is covered, I would encourage you to submit it on a form, and we will definitely look at it for you and consider whether it would be covered under the warranty.
The next question is for Harry. Why are there no consumer advocates on your board? Is Mr. Libfeld, recently in the news, still on the Tarion board?
Thank you, Gina. Well, first and foremost, with respect to the first part of this question, I think the concept of labeled appointments is really an antiquated concept. When a board composition takes place, it looks for multiple skills. And it's really directed by the ministerial order and looks at the mandate of the Tarion, the size of Tarion, complexity of Tarion. So having this kind of labeling does not serve the purpose. Now, let me reflect on the spirit of the question. And based on the spirit of the question, what I would like to point out is that we do have board members. In fact, almost more than 1/4 of our board has members who have experience in mediation, who have experience in dispute resolution, who have experience in consumer servicing. They understand the performance standards that are expected as it's making its way through. Their insights are making their way through in our new consumer standards, et cetera, that are coming in our planning. And they understand the ecosystem, the environment in which Tarion deals with. So I think one has to take into account the composition of the board, the mandate of the company itself, and what we have is a skill-based board. And within that skill set, we do have people that would go beyond, in fact, they would go beyond just having the label of consumer advocacy. So that's the part I would like to point out for the first part of the question. The second part of the question, I would like to point out that, yes, we are aware of the ongoing proceedings in the media that has been highlighted involving Mr. Lipfeld and his family. These proceedings involve matters of a personal nature that are not related to Mr. Lipfeld's work on Tarion board or Tarion itself. We are not in a position to provide further commentary at this time. So I think that's my response to the second part of this question.
The next question is for Sophie. Is Tarion responsible for the outside, like the roof, through the first year?
Well, I just would like to clarify, it's the builder's warranty, so the builder would be responsible ultimately. However, the warranty that Tarion administers and backstops does provide for defects in the exterior cladding for up to 2 years, which would include issues with the roof, like water penetration and that sort of thing. So yes, it would be part of the warranty, and we would look at it if it were submitted on a form.
And Sophie, I think would it be fair to say, I think if because the cladding warranty that you described, 2 years for sure, that's the clearest coverage. But if there was a real catastrophic problem with a roof, that could qualify for the 7-year coverage as well.
This next one is for Sophie again. As a new build owner, when the builder comes to your home to fix defects, issues provided through the Tarion app, such as a 30-day form, does the builder have this list available? I was advised the issues, defects, and more needed to be advised by me to the builder with green tape in place.
Yes, the builder does have access to whatever form you submit through your 30-day app. If they're not able to access it online through their Builder Link account, then we would provide it to them by mail. So they would have it. I think what they may be asking you to do is actually identify the defects. Like, for example, if there's paint deficiencies and you put paint defects in bedroom 2, they may want to actually have you show them where the defects are. So I suspect that is likely what they're asking, but they definitely do have a copy of your claim form. Yes.
Yeah, I think I would say the more clarity a homeowner can bring into the process to identify the defects to the builder's attention to make sure they know exactly what the issue is, the better the process is going to work. Of course, it has to be reasonable. So I'm not trying to say that there's an unreasonable kind of amount of work a homeowner does, but I do think, the more accurate or the more specific a homeowner can be, that you can be in identifying where the problem is, the better, the easier it's going to be for the builder to ensure that their trade can solve the problem.
The next question is for Kevin. How does Tarion ensure the utmost workmanship? I believe the builders are getting away with bad workmanship in a heated housing market. How does Tarion ensure the homeowner is getting the quality for the price they are paying for?
So the first thing that I would say is make sure you report that to Tarion. Without reporting it to us, we may not be aware that a builder is not upholding their end of the bargain. At the end of the day, they sold you a product and they must live up to that promise that they made to you. And so if you feel that they're not upholding that end of the bargain, certainly let us know. We would go out to inspect it then if you're not satisfied with the builder's repairs or with the quality of the work. And depending on what the results of that are, could result in different avenues where areas where Tarion would get involved. And what I mean by that is I've spoken earlier about risk-based inspections. And so if we find a builder is not either building properly or not resolving things properly, and there's a systemic issue, we may impose targeted inspections to ensure that these issues don't happen again. We could impose security requirements if we find a builder is not building or repairing things properly. We could limit the number of homes that a builder is allowed to build going forward if we have serious concerns about a builder's quality of the product. Something new now is something we used to deal with, but now with the new HCRA launch is, depending on how serious it is, the builder may lose their license as well. Now that part of the equation now is dealt with by the HCRA, but that's another avenue where I'm going to say HCRA and Tarion partner together to ensure that builders are upholding their end of the deal.
The next question is for Sophie. What are the Tarion warranty limitations of a new owner who purchases a house after 1 to 5 years or beyond?
I'm not sure if this question is asking for the warranty coverage for the first 5 years, so I'll answer it that way. And if it is not that, then I would just ask that you submit another question and we'll attempt to answer it directly after the broadcast. So the first year of coverage is the broadest. It covers, basically workmanship issues in work and materials, and it covers the entire home. The second year is, as you've heard in a previous answer, exterior cladding, water penetration through exterior cladding, and heating, distribution systems, plumbing systems, that sort of thing. And then there's the major structural defect coverage, which is in place for 7 years after the date of possession, which deals with major structural concerns and the ability of using the home, or a significant portion of the home. All of this is outlined on our website if you want some more information on it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the questioner is getting to this also, but there are exclusions to the warranty. So, for example, I think an obvious one would be damage that's just the result of regular wear and tear in the house. That's not covered. Or damage to items that were maybe installed by the homeowner, not by the builder. So there are some exclusions as well. I don't know if that's what the questioners look, but that information should be on our website as well and can be identified.
The next question is for Kevin. Who is responsible for making sure builders don't sell unregistered houses? Are the real estate agents up to date with these regulations?
So it's illegal to sell homes in the province of Ontario without having a valid license and without getting prior approval from Tarion. Since February 1st, we would call it qualification for enrollment. So a builder would have to have a valid license with HCRA, and then would also have to have a qualification for enrollment to sell a home in the province of Ontario. If a builder does not have those two qualifications, then they could be prosecuted. The prosecution now of illegal building is now done by the HCRA as of February 1st, 2021. So I would certainly reach out and share that information with the HCRA. What I can also tell you is that if that information was to come into Tarion, we would also share that information with HCRA. So you can either reach out directly to HCRA, or if that information comes to us, we would send it to them as well. With regards to the real estate agents, are they up to date with these regulations? I do know that we have sent out a lot of information to a lot of our different stakeholders over the last number of months, indicating what the different parts that Tarion still deals with and the new responsibilities of the HCRA. So I do know that information has been sent out, but that's something I do know that ongoing communication with all of our stakeholders is something that we would continue to do, because we realize that anytime a new organization starts up, there may be some confusion in the early stages. And I think one of the best things to do is to continue with that communication so that all of our stakeholders are well aware of the responsibilities of HCRA has now, and then what the responsibilities of Tarion as well as of February 1st, 2021.
You know, I mean, I think it is a fair expectation that homeowners should be able to expect that their advisors in the home purchasing process, whether it be a real estate agent or a real estate lawyer, are familiar with, you know, the regulations that apply. And I echo what Kevin says, and I certainly see it as part of our outreach mandate to work with entities like RICO, which is the the real estate regulator, to try to make sure that any information that we have to provide it to them and work with them. So, you know, I think outreach is important for all our stakeholders, as Kevin said.
The next question is for Sophie. Are there any changes coming to the construction performance guidelines in the near future?
We are considering making changes and reviewing the construction performance guidelines and making some changes to them. We were hoping to do that last year and this year, but because of COVID, unfortunately, we couldn't deal with that. But we do have plans to start reviewing them in 2022.
The next question is for Peter. Why do we have to pay the $282.50 to schedule a conciliation?
Thank you, Gina. The $282 for a conciliation, I would describe it as it's almost like a deposit, because it's an amount of money that is provided or put up for the conciliation. But when the inspection happens, if there's anything that is found to be warranted, that amount is returned to the home buyer. And it is, I think in the 2020, maybe 90% plus of deposits made for a conciliation inspection were returned to a homeowner. So we really look at it like in the context of most insurance programs, you might think about a deductible. So when you make a claim, there's a small amount of money or an amount of money that's a deductible to your insurance claim, and you never get that back. And so because we're not a for-profit organization, we have a public interest mandate. We're trying to look at this in a way where we don't build in a deductible. So this is the $282 will get returned to you if there is a warranted item. Why it's there at all really is to acknowledge that over the history of the organization, and when we look at our historical claims experience, there are incidences of claims being raised where the items maybe are frivolous. And so there needs to be some, some element, some skin in the game, if you want to put it that way, for the homeowner to ensure that the situation is handled in an efficient way. And to not have anything means that we may have an excessive number of requests that aren't really connected to real issues. And during COVID, this was a struggle, right? Because on one hand, there are so many financial challenges people are facing, which really lead us to look for situations to waive even this kind of a fee as a hold or as a deposit. On the other hand, having an increased number of inspections that are maybe are frivolous or maybe aren't real contributes to the public health risk. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this problem. At the end of the day, we've concluded that having it framed as a deposit, returning it, is a fair way of having something like a deductible, but not being permanent like a deductible, and that's why we have that, and that's how we have, and that the number itself is an analysis was done. It was a small percentage. The number was determined based on being a percentage of the cost of sending a person from Tarion out to a home. That's kind of the history of it. So I hope that answers that question.
Peter, I just wanted to add a little bit to that answer as well, because I know you made it clear that it's a deposit and you get the money back if there's a warranted item. But I just also want to make it clear to those folks out there that the majority of time after conciliation is requested, the deposit is given, the majority of time a conciliation doesn't actually even happen. And what I mean by that is the homeowner actually withdraws the conciliation before it actually happens, because the builder and the homeowner are able to resolve whatever the outstanding issues are there. And I just also want to make it clear that in those instances, the homeowner also gets their full deposit back. So not only do they get it back if there's a warranted item, if it actually goes to conciliation, if it's actually withdrawn and the conciliation is canceled, then the homeowner gets the full amount back as well.
And that's a good point. And Sophie, I want to put you on the spot, but if there's a financial hardship, is there an avenue for the homeowner to talk to us about that?
Definitely, we do not charge the fee or refund it if necessary, if there is a financial hardship situation. So they could just speak to the person scheduling their inspection if that's the case.
Okay, thank you.
The next question is for Peter. Will Tarion be giving the annual Builder of the Year awards after the recent change?
Thanks, Gina. That's a really, I think that's a good question. Folks that are familiar with the Tarion program know that we've had a long history of providing awards to builders who have records of excellent service as determined by feedback from the public, so by the homeowners. And, there's a lot of positive elements of those kinds of awards because too often in a compliance scenario, you're always looking at the stick, not the carrot. But it's important too, I think, to find ways to reward builders. That being said, during the AG report, and really as we focus on transforming the organization and pushing our change agenda, we think that the best thing to do for now is to put a pause on those kinds of awards and really return to them in the future after giving some good thought to how those awards fit into our framework and our mandate. Does it make sense for us to give awards at all? Does it make sense if there are going to be awards for those to be provided by the HCRA? If we are going to give awards, what should they be based on, and how do we want to publish those criteria? So I think that part of our commitment and my commitment to the viewers here, when they ask about change at Tarion and what can we expect for the future, it's a commitment that says we're listening to criticisms. This is a program that was criticized, and we are open to thinking about positive ways of moving forward, either bringing them back in a way that makes a lot of sense for a mandate, or not doing them. So the short answer is probably this year we are not going to be giving Builder of the Year awards out, but we may be returning to it, but only after due consideration, consultation, and some good thinking.
Thank you, Peter. And that brings our 2021 annual public meeting to an end. I would like to thank all of you for participating this evening. There were some excellent questions, and I hope we were able to answer them to your satisfaction. Please note that if we didn't get to your question and it's a general one, look to our website for an answer in the coming days. If it was a specific question about your home that we couldn't address for privacy reasons, we have directed staff to follow up with you. A reminder that this evening's event was recorded and will be posted to Tarion's YouTube channel within the next 7 days. Thank you once again for joining us for Tarion's 2021 annual public meeting. Good night.